Welcome to the 69th broadcast of the T-ROH show. This is your host, Keith. Got John with me.
Good morning, folks. Yeah, I hope you enjoy this one.
I know you're going to. Folks, what we're doing here today is we normally don't do things like this. We normally just leave organizations alone. But man, are we seeing a lot of people having issues, okay? And getting sucked into something that is going to cause them problems down the road. It doesn't really matter what you do in a private organization. What you do within your private organization, that's up to you. It's when that private organization starts affecting general public or a lot of other people or the states or international jurisdiction, national jurisdiction, and those type of things. That's when you have major problems. And that's when your butts go to jail. So what we're trying to do is actually, when you see what we're getting ready to do, you'll get the gist of what we're saying here. A lot of people have asked us, can you go through documents and things like that and show people what they're doing wrong or what the problems are with them? And yeah, we can do that. We're going to go through that today. There's a thing called the Michigan Assembly, and I think this is their foundational document here. And we'll just go through some of it, and we're going to show you some of the things that we see. How about that? You want to do that, John? We'll just go through and see. We'll show people what we see.
Yes, sir. We can point out a few things that might help them correct it up and make it a good decent assembly.
Well, we'll see if they'll even do that because they're going to have to go
Okay.
through everything they've done. Okay.
Okay.
All right. It says formation and operations function of the Michigan General Jural Assembly. Well, we don't know. There's such thing as called a jural society. This is a brand new entity here, brand new thing. I had never heard any of this kind of thing. You have a jural society which was started by the guy who played the head of the biker game in Every Which Way But Loose. He was the gang there, and he used to go after Philo Beto all the time. And I can't remember the guy's name. He started the jural societies over in California. Him and another guy. And they were really pushing those. So apparently that's morphed into Michigan General Jural Assembly. Okay, bylaws of the sovereign members of Michigan, a free and independent state. Okay, wrong name. This is a creature. Okay, there is no such thing. There's a state of Michigan, there's always been one state of Michigan. So if you go back to their original constitution, you will see that the name of the state is the state of Michigan. But somehow, some way, it's gotten through the channels to all these people that the state of Michigan is a corporation. So they don't get that it's actually the opposite. This is the corporation within the state of Michigan. This state here. That's a creature of the state that was created by the state of Michigan. So now all of a sudden this really doesn't mean anything. There's not a free and independent state because it can't be because it was created by the state of Michigan, upper and lowercase state of Michigan. So that's just how it works. Whereas the assembly of we the people, we don't understand why this is capitalized. Because this was supposed to be a legal document. A legal document, entities within legal documents have to be the exact same all the time. Otherwise, you got two and three and four different things going on. Being one of the principles most respected and powerful civil rights of American people. Okay, civil rights. Now we're in that would be within the creature. Okay, so that would actually be consistent, wouldn't you say, John?
Yes, sir.
All right, so civil rights here. Whereas the concept of an assembly, okay, so now we're going to be, these are the founding documents, dates back to the early colonies. This should actually be under a history type thing, historical notes, and which included in the constitutions of the free republics of the United States of America. There were never such a thing as the free republics of the United States of America as means for the people to rein in an elected government acting outside the limits of delegated power. And we already told you that in a earlier T-ROH show that once this thing was done, or once they tried to do it, let's put it that way, and it was done by Masonic Lodge, that the states lost their, they condemned them. They condemned the states and the people therein to where their state had lost their independence. That's what they wanted to make happen, or that was their intention. Now, it never really specifically did happen. It did not happen. What we're saying is that that's what they wanted. So we have a group of people here that are trying to bring back an independent state by destroying the independent state in their own documents. So we got some double-minded, so-called. When a government appears to be committing criminal and unconstitutional acts, it can hardly be relied upon to bring charges and indictments against itself. So therefore, we the people inhabiting the land of Michigan, there's, okay, no such state. Hello, it's supposed to be we the people inhabiting the state of Michigan, a free and independent state, upper and lowercase letter, free men and women convened under God, having been granted by Creator dominion over all the earth. There was no reason to bring all that up to protect and restore the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Now you're doing it just for yourselves. So you're not a public a forum here. Do hereby invoke our sacred right to peacefully assemble, as memorialized in the unanimous Declaration of Independence of the 13 United States of America, the Articles of Confederation 1781, the Constitution of Michigan 1850, and do hereby establish this Michigan General Assembly of the Sovereign People of Michigan. Well, if you went by the 1850 state of Michigan, you just created a state within a state, a free and independent state. That's a creature of the state. So you're trying to bring back your states by destroying the original state. That's called treason. Wouldn't you see that, John?
Yes, sir. I sure do.
And then they couldn't figure out why they were being attacked in 2012.
Right.
We know about this because there's a guy named Destry Payne that works with these people, calls himself a scribe, and he was a general postmaster at one time. If you don't believe us, here it is. This is when we had the older seal and all that, and we brought everything forward, and here he is right here, Destry James Payne. And he was an American national, and he ended up being a general postmaster, but he screwed things up so bad that we had to let him go. We just couldn't deal with him anymore. It's like, dude, you're causing more trouble than you were. It says the Michigan General Assembly being formed and existing by right according to common law and lawfully assembled on the free dry land of Michigan. Of the Michigan. There's no such thing here, guys. This is complete figment of anyone's imagination. There is no such place. A free and independent state. There is no such thing and can never be any such thing. Is not a part of de facto incorporated. Well, that's what you just said you were. So you just created another de facto incorporated. Bodies such as political action committees and any and all political parties. Its function is an entirely separate and independent body. See, that's what they did. Completely separate and independent body of the other de facto incorporated body. Void of affiliation with any and all partisan connections according to rights and powers granted by the Creator. Why are you going to bring the Creator into this mess, dude? That's all I'm saying. You're going to bring him into this?
And the thing of it is, Keith, every time they change it like that, they're creating a new state.
Yeah.
I've only counted about 8 so far in that one paragraph.
That's about 100 years in jail.
At least.
That's 20 years a pop. And it says, and vested in the people by the Bill of Rights that secure these rights to address constitutional usurpations for the United States of America, 1787, as amended 1791. There was never any such constitution that was ever created in 1787.
That's it.
Look at this. You got this right here. There was no such constitution ever created in that name. And then you have this right here. So which one is it? And it says circa, I guess they like to use the word circa, 1787 because it sounds official. The United States of America there. And then for the United States of America here. Different, completely different entities.
That's true. In 1787, it was supposed to go in a constitutional convention to correct the Articles of Confederation.
Right, to amend them. It had nothing to do with anything like that. So we'll even put that aside just for this. Look at the different names. The different names here. They got different this, okay, here. And then you got a completely different one here. And this is supposed to be a legal document, folks. You can't do this. If you were to put this into any Secretary of State, they would tell you can't create two organizations. You have to do two separate ones. And by the way, where's your freaking Constitution? This assembly is composed of free men and women who have bound themselves by a jural covenant of office oath to review, deliberate, and notice the unlawful acts and actions of public office holders. Okay, so your private membership association, and you're trying to do something here. I don't know exactly what you're doing because you're actually doing the same exact thing. You're just doing privately. You're doing unlawful acts and actions. It's the same as they are. So what's the difference between you and them? And you also created your own freaking state within a state here. It says these assembly members have sworn or affirmed to support, preserve, defend, and protect the Constitution of the United States of America, 1787. Oh, I thought it was the United States of America, 1787. Huh. The Bill of Rights by autographing under oath or affirmation the jural covenant of office. There's no such thing in those constitutions. This constitution, by the way, doesn't exist. And the other one, there's no such thing as a jural covenant of office. Within their constitution here. So it has no standing. Absolutely zero standing whatsoever. Michigan General Jural Assembly standing as guardians of Michigan, a free and independent state. Okay, you've done it 3 times now. You've already created a state within a state 3 times. One of the free republics in perpetual union with the Articles of Confederation in force after ratification by Maryland March 1st, 1781. No, you're not. Not even close. You're not a free republic in perpetual union with the Articles of Confederation at all. Because it wasn't Maryland, it would have been the state of Maryland. Hello. In addition, all Michigan General Jural Assembly members have autographed under oath or affirmation the Jural Covenant of Office. It has no standing anywhere other than to this little thing they've got here. Knowing full well that they are subject to serve as de jure grand jury members. Oh, they are, okay. And are selected by a random draw and will serve a 1-year term. Okay, so there's grand jury members, and then there's de jure grand jury members. So what's wrong with just grand jury members? And by the way, that's not, all I can tell you is no. That's not how any of this works. The express meaning of the word de jure used herein is existing by right or according to law.
They just created a jury within a jury.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You have to be at least 16 years of age, be domiciled on the land within geographic boundaries of Michigan, no such state, a free and independent state, no such creature, for not less than 1 year immediately prior to joining the assembly. I thought it was the Michigan General Jural Assembly, not a lowercase assembly. So now you get a private assembly within the Michigan General Jural Assembly. So they're not really okay. According to this document here, you're not really joining the Michigan General Jural Assembly. What you're doing is joining a separate assembly within the Michigan General Jural Assembly.
State within a state, within a jury, within a
With
assembly,
assembly
within
within
an
an
assembly.
assembly. And you're supposed to exhibit common sense, intelligence, good character, and sound judgment. And anybody that reads this will go, "You got to be freaking kidding me." Okay? Cannot be convicted of malfeasance in any public office, any felony or other high crime. Well, you guys have already got all that covered. Okay? And there's an actual injured party, and you've injured a lot of people. Exceptions to the felony rule may be granted on a case by case basis. So you've got felons that are going to give exceptions to felonies. On the nature of felony conviction must be approved by a simple majority of 50% plus by the Michigan General Jural Assembly. Not by this assembly up here. That's just to get into this assembly, not this one. So now you have a Michigan General Jural Assembly above you within this one here, in a geographic boundaries of Michigan, which doesn't exist. It has to be the state of Michigan. Cannot be holding a title of nobility or be an attorney holding membership of the bar. Well, at this point, I think you'd have it would be to your advantage to get one. Okay. Cannot be serving as de facto corporate elected public official. Well, what the hell do you think you guys are?
I don't think they could hire a lawyer, a bar attorney, take this on.
No, man. There's so much work that has to be done. It'd probably be $4.50 an hour to do this. Okay. Jural covenant of office doesn't even apply, by the way. So what do you think you are? That's a de facto corporate elected public official. De facto means people that were put in place that nobody elected and didn't have the authority to elect. Must autograph under oath or affirmation the Declaration of Independence and the Declaration of Unalienable Rights. Oh, we got to do blue ink. Yeah, that's right. Circa 2011. Okay, you got duties, powers, and responsibilities. And remember, folks, these are the bylaws. Okay, I believe that's what they say. Yeah, assembly bylaws. Now, where's your constitution? You can't claim this one for this organization because this one doesn't recognize it.
I don't believe you can write bylaws until you get a constitution to write it from, can you?
I believe so, yeah. Just reviews and evaluates procedures, methods, and systems used by all government agencies to determine whether agency operations remain within lawful limitations of constitutional authority, and also may inquire into any aspect of special legislative districts and joint power agencies. That is so beyond, it's unbelievable. I'm going to tell you why. They review and evaluate methods and systems used by all governmental agencies. Go back to your Constitution of 1787. You hear anything in there that says anything about an agency? So what they did was they appointed themselves United Nations watchdogs for the United Nations.
Under a constitution that doesn't exist in 1787.
Mm-hmm. All right. The jurisdiction, we're going to have to go to the jurisdiction here. Extends to the operations of any federal agency. Oh, presuming to have authority to operate within the geographic boundaries of Michigan. You mean the Michigan that doesn't exist? That you guys said that didn't exist? A free and independent
my question is, which Michigan? they got about 6 of them.
I know, which may affect or infringe the unalienable rights of the sovereign people of Michigan. Oh, okay. Your Michigan, not the state of Michigan, your Michigan. And just so I'm clear here, we got to make sure that I'm just going to when I'm saying state of Michigan, I'm saying state of Michigan. That was the original name of the state of Michigan. Anything outside of this is a fraud. Okay, the Michigan General Assembly functions lawfully only as a body. That's not even a statement. No one individual assembly member acting alone has any power or authority. No one county has the authority or power to implement change or conditions to these bylaws on its own. That still does.
I thought they said a minute ago that they were sovereign
I guess.
people.
Members in good standing attending the assembly meeting shall constitute a quorum of the assembly. Oh, so we have another assembly here. We have an assembly within an assembly doing another assembly. I don't know what that means. So you're putting in definitions here, but there's no heading for definitions. There we go. Meetings of this Michigan General Assembly are private meetings. There you go. Now that's the only thing that we can figure out that's truthful in here. Okay. Non-members shall be sponsored by a member in good standing to attend assembly meetings. Okay. So therefore, you have nothing more than a Masonic lodge going on here, because that's what you have to do with a Masonic lodge. You have to be sponsored to join. Okay, so the Masons, which we've proven before, came together and created a Constitution in 1787, made everybody believe it was a national constitution, and made everybody believe it was valid. This is the exact same thing. This is no different. I'm not saying it, they're saying it right here. Okay, this is an assembly, a different assembly. So the Michigan General are private meetings, so they're private. But in order to get into the assembly within assembly, you have to be sponsored by a member in good standing. So it is required all matters placed before this Michigan General Assembly and votes taken must be kept as continual record in the minutes of all the meetings. Private membership association, that's all it is, with no constitution. Regularly scheduled and special emergency scheduled meetings. Michigan General Assembly takes action by peaceful means in redressing under review all government agencies. So now they're a watchdog for like we said, the United Nations. The end result of inquiries into civil matters may be released to the public in the form of a final report, but only upon written request. So no different than any private membership association or club. That's all it is. And clubs do not have the authority to settle states. So just keep that in mind. Clubs and private membership associations and companies cannot settle independent states, create nationalities, or issue nationalities to do all these things. They can't do that. It's a complete farce. So all matters voted on the Michigan Journal shall be decided by a simple majority of 50% plus one, and all matters voted on shall be final in all matters. What?
They just made it a democracy. 50 plus one.
Uh-huh. So you got majority rules, and all matters voted on shall be final in all matters. Okay. To examine all aspects of government operations by initiating its own investigations, placing their findings before a board of review for disposition. Okay, and they resolve disputes between governmental agencies and the people living and working within geographic boundaries of Michigan. So they're all members. Okay. To conduct an investigation, and when the evidence is sufficient, to issue presentments to the board of review, to initiate appropriate action by enforcement agencies responsible for prosecution. I don't understand that whole thing there. Okay. All government agencies and office holders to ensure compliance with constitutions, lawful statutes, ordinances, regulations, codes, and review to determine the lawfulness of all listed directives. Okay. Y'all haven't had haven't been. Oh, by the way, all this stuff is copywritten. Lawful statutes, ordinances, regulations, codes of a United Nations agency calling itself a government. Huh. I don't understand what they mean by lawful.
Well, maybe they got some unlawful ones.
Well, you have to start somewhere if you see lawful. I don't understand. Okay, we've gone through a lot of this stuff. This is a big conglomerated mess here. I have no idea what the hell that means. They have to oversee all county settlement assemblies. We used to have what they call a settlement board, and I'm sure that's where Destry got it. He basically took a lot of the stuff that we were doing, turned it into something I have no idea what it was. Um, huh. Well, all right. If you're going to, I'm going to say inquire into the condition and management of our governmental offices equals agencies and required a reset of all corporate style governance to the de jure style and function in common law based on biblical principles as the original republic form of governance intended. You got to start doing it yourself. It has to begin somewhere. So you have to set it up to where your freaking Michigan General Assembly has some kind of constitution it goes by to establish all this stuff. And then I think that they tried to move into. I mean, we can go into. We could just tear this to pieces a little bit further, but it's really kind of a joke at this time. They're trying to go into a national assembly, officers, election of national. You don't have a constitution, guys. Then this is how they have to. Each settled state can sign on via the equal footing doctrine, also known as equality of the states, is the principle of the United States constitutional law that all states admitted to the Union under Constitution since 1789 enter equal footing with the 13 states already in Union at that time. The Constitution grants this was never passed, guys. This was passed by the and by the way, we've already done this. This is all already completed. All you have to do is declare residency, claim your nationality, and you're within the state. You don't have to worry about all this crap. New states may be admitted, then they go try to prove it, and it doesn't make any sense. It's just basically just here we got power given to Congress, Constitution, admit new states right here to this union. There's lowercase there, and then they come in and create it again. That's the creature. That it's just nothing. Nobody pays attention to anything that they're doing anymore. Here's the authority documents. Let's go to the authority documents here. The Bible. We can agree with that. Magna Carta had nothing to do with us.
Did you notice at the top of that document that says a National Assembly?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a state assembly.
Yeah, you have to have a state assembly. I know they're just well. Plus, they're within the metes and bounds of a state that doesn't exist. So they're claiming the Connecticut Colony Fundamental Orders, Mayflower Compact, Magna Carta, Constitution for the United States of America. This never existed. Articles of Confederation, no. Northwest Ordinance. Then they go Bill of Rights with original 14 Articles of Amendment. They're bypassing. It's just a joke, folks. Come on, really? Seriously, come on. All they're doing is they're set as a private membership association that, by the way, has to form in secret. If you'll notice that the National Assembly for the Government of the United States of America, it's a public forum. People can come on anytime they want. We don't go in secret. Okay, and we definitely the only thing we don't do is let people have our recordings because people like this steal the crap off of them and turn them into some twisted crap that's not there and get a lot of people in trouble. Okay, let's okay, here's the yeah, all right. Hit I think there's a 10-step thing Gather as many people together as you can and meet with you and start discussing what the community concerns are. Ask two or more people to take notes of the discussion and guide the discussion into a formation of an assembly. Do not be concerned at this point whether or not it will be a county or a state assembly, preacher assembly. The purpose at this point is to get the people introduced to the concept of an assembly to address grievances that are prevalent and common to all that are present. When that's a political organization, guys. That's all that is. When a concept of an assembly is being accepted as a method of bringing the community grievances to the government offices and discussion, should then move into formalizing the assembly using the Bill of Rights article, one of those people's authority and power to do so. No. Be conscious of the time spent so as to not overstay the meeting and lose people. Set a period of time as agreed to by the group and plan time and place the next meeting, having all recorded in the notes and note keepers. This meeting and notes become the minutes of the record for the first meeting of the assembly. That's a private membership association. That's also an LLC. That's what they do. This should be the second meeting again with note takers, and this discussion will be guided into formalizing how a group of people will desire the assembly to be operated and what leaders or officers the people desire to establish. There are three offices or officers that are vital to the development of the assembly, the function of the minimum breakdown of the meetings into chaos and subsequent demise of the assembly. The first position officer is a moderator to keep order and decorum with the meetings process. Second position is recording secretary or scribe to keep minutes and gather the notes and the note takers and maintain the record of the assembly. The third position is bailiff or sergeant at arms to assist moderator in keeping order to break up any ruckus that may break out because of the differences in ideology about any particular issue. There are other offices that the assembly will desire to have in place to handle things that are on the floor of the assembly for discussion, voted into being, such as treasurer, chaplain, historian, and other offices and positions that the assembly deems necessary to function. Okay, so you're forming a church. That's all it is. Every meeting you start with a prayer. That's what do you say that was a church?
I would, if you started or ended with a prayer.
Now the assembly has to become conscious of numbers and what numbers indicate. We, the Michigan General Jural Assembly, researched everything that we brought to the assembly to determine what made sense and what didn't, and what might be overdone by sheer weight of volume and numbers. In researching the original concept of coming together as a grand jury, the Magna Carta of 1215 and Chapter 61, the numbers of this body is stated in the election, the 25 barons from the realm. So what are they doing? They're coming together as a church. And all of a sudden, they're going to a grand jury, and now they're going to war. They're going to start going after what they call de facto, but they're in the same freaking state. So now they're starting a war. That's the very first thing people do, man. And then guess how many people go to jail when they go to a grand jury? What was the last guy that went to jail? 17 years?
I don't remember what it was, but he's still up there.
They followed this process. How many of those people went to jail, John, that followed this process? That all of a sudden came to a grand jury?
Might never one of them got one or two people up there.
So,
in fact is that the jury foreman is one of them is still in jail up there.
So you have no constitution and bylaws, because this is a private organization, whether you like it or not. It doesn't affect the state of Michigan Constitution or any other constitution in the country, by the way. You have some messed up bylaws. Now you're trying to do an election of a national assembly. You have no constitution there at all. And all your meetings are private. And now you go right to war, right there. Now we're going to try everybody and we're going to get those bastards. Meanwhile, your person's still offshore. You have no oath or affirmation as a nationality. You haven't claimed anything. You're still a trafficked person and a stateless person trying to create something that is not even there because you're claiming random documents. These are all random documents, and none of those documents have anything to do with the other. Okay, nothing to do with the other document. The Mayflower Compact had nothing to do with uh, the Constitution of 1787, had nothing to do with the Articles of Confederation, had nothing to do with the Declaration of Independence. None of these documents were connected to the other one through any form of chain of title. As a matter of fact, the Declaration of Independence had nothing to do with the Articles of Confederation. We had to connect those because they had
And
two separate entities in them.
yes, the Mayflower Compact was a bunch of entrepreneurs that come over here to set up businesses from the Netherlands.
Right. And the Magna Carta of 1215 has nothing to do with this country.
That's right.
Zero. These are barons. And don't believe me? 25 barons, baron families from the realm. This was under a monarchy. It had nothing to do with this country. So what do? Go right to war. By now, at least third of the meeting, the group or assembly will want to discuss how to function. And this is, if you haven't been arrested yet or screwed with, an operation of the assembly and will be in almost also become very solid in the concept of whatever the assembly decides to do in the safety and well-being of the assembly members and the community in the highest self-aggrandize and self-benefit purpose of move. Oh, I'm sorry. A highest priority. I skipped a sentence. The purpose is to move elected people in government offices and direct protecting people's rights and cease abusing their office for self-aggrandizement and self-benefit at the expense of the people. So your private membership association that's essentially a church that you form a grand jury, you're going to war, and now you're going to take over and put people in place that you believe are better served in those offices. That that's a political party. Why don't you just form a political party? Everybody joins a political party, and you start electing people that you want in office. Why are you mixing a simple assembly in with all this mess?
Well, they created democracy with a 50 plus one. So that's the political party.
It's a political party with a chaplain. Okay, we're good to go there. Historian, treasurer. And you guys want to form a political party. So form your political party and then come together and start voting people and you want in. That's legal. That's something you can do. That's and they'll say, well, he said legal. He said legal. It's lawful. You want to do it that way? We'll say that. Same difference. This is done by making people of the state county aware of the existence of the assembly of the voters, and they can become members of whatever process those in the present assembly agreed on by a vote, and is seen to be right for the assembly, whether that is a majority quorum or how every. Okay. The will and desire of the people are the reason for the assembly exists, and that all come to consensus and agree. And the most important factor is to be observed. It is important that that all who gather are to be heard in their input, considered creating and exercising the concept that all have a voice and all concert can speak as one voice and the inherent agent in the government office. All speak as one voice. Okay, that sounds a lot like the NWO. We heard that a lot. And the fourth step, it is stated that the assembly makes the state and county aware of its existence. How that is done by the assembly publishing a notice in the legal notices section of the major news organ um, for the state level and the local county news organs again in the legal notices section for the county. You're just telling everybody you have a political party, but no one knows what the hell it is. The newspapers are being advised by their attorneys not to publish these notices, but persistence will prevail if you challenge them nicely and make your case using the very same first article in the Bill of Rights that they themselves use. Okay. Now, the reason why they're saying don't do this is because, believe it or not, their attorneys may be trying to help you. You just don't realize it. It's not that you're so powerful. This is the right way, and the bad guy's trying to stop it. There's crap we won't put in our newspaper. Crap like this that we won't put in our, actually both of our newspapers, the American Herald and the Ran to Heaven Society Post. We won't post some things because people come up and they post things that are going to hurt themselves. I say, you don't want to do this because this is why. And we go through it, we tear it to pieces and tell them where they're committing felonies, they're violating law of nations, they're violating all kinds of things. Then they get the hint. Don't do this, man. You're just going to hurt yourself. You're creating a state within a state. That's a major, major problem. Blah, 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 blah. It says there are caveats to this publication which you must insist on which they, or when they do publish, it cannot be have a box around it, as it is legally they have conquered your assembly and can dictate and claim. No, that's all bullshit. It says the way to see how you desire it to be published in a row with a paper, or I'm sorry, to get a major local newspaper, see how the attorneys have their notices published to insist for the same courtesy. The notice must be published 3 weeks in a row with the paper. Okay, yeah, this is all it's all junk because you don't you don't. All right, you don't even have one yet. I mean, it's unbelievable. It says by now the President Assembly should be interested in the determined to address the concerns that have been identified, and if sufficient numbers exist, there can be a specific topic, subjects, or ideas that can have 3 or 5 people volunteer to research and bring in the finding conclusions of evidence to the Assembly, and the Assembly as a whole can develop a notice to be delivered to the government office. Okay, so now you're going judicial. So you have a political party now all of a sudden moves from you have a church that goes to a grand jury that is not really a grand jury, and then it goes into publication, then it goes into investigation, right?
It goes into a lot of different things.
Okay,
And there's those attorneys up there and the police both are doing these people a favor by not arresting them.
okay. There's where are okay here. I'm looking up election. Okay, I still don't see any elections here. Who's speaking for this freaking assembly?
Well, your election and all is set up in your Constitution.
This isn't even a legal private membership association or club.
It's not nothing about it's legal.
This isn't even a private membership association. It's not a club. There's no elections here. There's no nothing. With
Keith, it'll take 4 pages just to list the entities they got in there.
the different entities and the different this,
Yeah.
and nothing makes any sense, and it's all changing. And it says we believe that this action will bring awareness to the people that these abuses cannot be addressed by any other means rather than the long time desire to sue them in court, manipulated by attorneys to extort the people on the. Okay, so this is a complaint. So the 10th step is a complaint. So they have an axe to grind. You got a bunch of people coming together to form a mob, and they got an axe to grind, and they're going to go after people. This is not how you settle your states, folks. This is not how you settle states at all. Not even close. These are people with an axe to grind. They got somebody. They're after people. And if you want, you got National Assembly documents, notice of agenda, National Assembly business meeting. Oh, okay, they get a business now. Conference calls, National Assembly Treasury and funding. There's a county assembly general discussions, legal documents, and these are people that are all in these things and not even. These are all the different states. There's no state of Alabama there, so it's a state within a state. Folks, just watch it. Just
None of those states are illegal.
just
Because
think, man.
all they
Freaking
got's
think.
a name. They don't have these states.
None of what people call the founding fathers ever did shit like this. None of the states that were settled ever settled like this. They didn't, not even close. And I bet you that if we went and tried to help them or even said we were going to help them, we wouldn't get anywhere in any way, shape, or form. We wouldn't get anywhere with them because you just can't. It's just, oh, here's the 50 state status. You got things, you got 6 people in Alabama, 15. This is the only one, I think, unrebutted globally noticed as your nation state. So no, you didn't create a nation state, guys. It's no.
How many they got in Florida?
Um,
28.
28.
Yeah. And at least 8 of them's in jail.
Yeah. So these are people that have no clue what they're doing in any way, shape, or form. I used to have a lot of respect for these guys here, but looking at what they're doing and everything, it's like, oh no, man, this is a joke. This has turned into a joke, and they come up with a hand. And just because you send a notice to the Hague doesn't mean that it was right. Then they'll go, "What was um, we talked to the military. Military did it, and blah blah blah." It man, it's only when you're wrong it's when the military is going to come around because they don't want you to do what you're doing. They're a freaking city state, dude. All right, where's this come from? John, you're the man that knows.
Believe it or not, that is a revenue flag created for the revenue cutters to gather taxes for import export as the ships came into the country or left. That was created in 1799, and they basically set up the Coast Guard with that, the revenue cutter.
Oh, okay, but so it has nothing to do with the stripes being up and down, meaning it's a peace flag, and that the stripes going this way, that's a war flag.
They turn that's they turned it up that way just so they could when they boarded other ships that they would be classed as pirates. It has nothing to do with it. That went over custom houses, revenue cutters, collection taxes, and what have you. And as far as I've been able to find, there is never any documentation to turn it over to the people.
And this is a
So,
company flag, and we've proven that
yep. So basically, they've actually stolen the revenue cutters tax flag.
from the company.
Yeah, from the company.
Maintain a fleet of 10 revenue cutters. They tell you what it is right here.
Yep. It's 1790.
And then how did this turn into a friggin' peace flag or national flag of peacetime? Oh my God. All right. Okay, yeah,
So
these what
look at it right there now. What's that emblem up there in the ensign?
right here.
Yeah, that's supposed to be anchor.
Right.
They took it to put stars in there. There's two different flags right there. In fact, there's three different flags there.
It's not a national flag.
Other than that, it's not too bad, Keith.
Uh-huh. Oh, this is a flag of peace. Okay. Oh, there you go. I remember that crap from a long time ago. People used to say it's a
Okay,
flag of peace
take a look down at where that flag is flying.
underneath.
There's your custom house. It's underneath your company flag.
Yeah, it has really nothing to do with anybody dealing with the people. We're
If it was people's flag, it'd be out there on a separate pole.
hmm
But you got it up with the company flag.
okay. They have a county settlement covenant. See what that is. Absolute writ of habeas corpus. Okay, local people. That's the United Nations. So you're dealing with that. Member of a free and independent states, also known as oh my god. Now I know where all this crap's coming from when we see this stuff. I see that on documents and things. People have been trying to come over to the government and have us put this documents in for this crap, and we just tell them, no, man, that is not right.
Well, there's another entity though with the lowercase t on the United States of America.
Right, and this actually, this county, this is a different county. It's a municipality.
Yep.
When you spell it this way, it's a municipality that has to have its own corporate uh, um, constitutional bylaws. And there's Article 2, Article 3. I don't even know what the hell this is. All right. I'm sorry.
That looks like an attempt at a constitution.
It's an attempt, but they just I don't know. That's the first time I'm seeing this. So
Yeah. It's, even with this, so they still don't have a constitution.
no, that you're just creating your own little private organizations, which is fine, but they're still not even legal there. There's I thought they had it together better than this, man. And believe me, putting this on Nasara is not a it's not a public notice. Nasara is a private blog. Oh, they went to the Sina Dia thing. Southern states walked out in the Union, and several of the northern states, and blah blah blah. Any act of fraud and treason is no act at all. They keep bringing the Articles of Confederation up, and they really need to stop because this is a salad bowl of things. Um, it's basically a salad bar of different stuff that's all lumped together. And in 1864, it says the unlawful Congress redefining the word state to be the District of Columbia. That was all lowercase letters. We have the act, and we show it in the T-ROH show. That it was all lowercase letters. They just redefined it.
That's when it went from the uppercase to the well, actually, that's all cap state. That's something different even yet.
Yeah, well, it didn't fit their narrative, so because they thought the state all lowercase letters was the
Yeah.
state was the real state, so it didn't fit their narrative, so they had to put an all uppercase letter here to. In 1864, the unlawful Congress redefining the word state to be the District of Columbia. That's not even true.
No, it isn't.
That's not even
What they
how it
did,
was worded.
the only thing they did is they took the uppercase and made it a lowercase to create a state within a state.
Right. And they were Roman Catholic states that were being created by the three city state empire. And
Yep,
what they were trying to do is use the authority of the states of the Union that were already in place to create their creatures of the state or state within the state. That's a lowercase s state within the state of. That's all that was going on. This is not even this isn't even an accurate statement here.
yeah. But when they went to all caps, though, that was created another damn state completely.
Yeah, it's, it says we as we continue to mention the timeline, U.S. corporation continues to attack vacant seats of the de jure constitutional government. Actually, they don't. They just created their own. Instead of the Senate of the United States, it's the U.S. Senate. They just created their own. Is all they did. It's run by a trust. So that's not an accurate statement. This is not. This is all very slighted. This is all designed to get you against them, and so that you'll fight and fight and fight, and you're just going to keep spinning your wheels, man. this this is not true either. None of this is true. This is all designed to piss you off. It's all anybody that doesn't know any different, that doesn't know any better, you're gonna follow this. You're gonna be pissed off by the end of this because you won't know the difference. It says now understand that we've been fooled, manipulated, and coerced by fraudulent acts committed by Abraham Lincoln, the U.S. court through adhesion contracts and other financial gains. All there to piss you off. That's all they're doing. That's all this particular website is here to do is piss you off, so that you'll fight and you'll be a part of them. Yeah, we'll get them. We're gonna go get them. I want to join an assembly. And then three steps later, you got a grand jury, and every one of you are busted and thrown in jail forever. And the people that are doing it have every right to do it because you are invading their freaking state, even though their state's unlawful. They don't know that they're working under the Roman Catholics. Well, a lot of them do, working under the Roman Catholics and the Pope across the pond and the Masonic Lodge. They all know this, and you're believe it or not, some of them are actually trying to help you. I'm sure they're very far and few between, but you won't see it that. And this is an old thing. Notice the principles, notice the agent, notice the agent. This is an old deal. This doesn't do anything. So it's the political will of we the people. So it's a political party. That's all it is.
Yep. And even when the country comes in and invades and conquers another country, they still have laws they have to abide by to protect the people they just conquered.
Mm-hmm.
And this doesn't do any of that. And
No.
they've commandeered just about everything within arm's reach.
And here's it before the state assembly and county assembly are both comprised of people who will be making up a grand jury. That's not what this is. You ever seen that commercial where you have a woman that she's putting pictures on the wall and she has pictures and there's three old ladies there and she's going, I'm putting my pictures on my wall. And so she's pasting pictures on the wall. And and the one of her friends is saying, that's not how this works. And she said, I unfriend you. And the woman says, that's not how any of this works. That's what I'm saying here. That's not how any of this works. It doesn't work this way. No, making up a grand jury. Okay, it says, therefore, a state assembly and a county assembly are both comprised of people who will be making up a grand jury. As your assembly grows, you will be writing documents as an assembly. That's not how any of that works. Okay, That's
I thought you were supposed to have the assembly, and then from the assembly you took the people to draw your grand jury.
right, to investigate people within your assembly that are violating the law.
That's right.
Assembly agreed upon that you the laws that you passed for your assembly.
Which they haven't had any yet to pass.
I haven't seen anywhere where they're passing laws. Were there any
I have
rules?
I haven't seen where they've even written up how to write a law.
They got a mission statement which goes along with a, like I said, this is a salad bowl that was created by a salad bar of a bunch of junk that was all thrown together.
Hmm. The first thing they got to do is write a constitution giving themselves permission to write laws.
Mm-hmm.
And without that permission, they can't do anything except violate everything that they touch.
We, the people, claiming our God given rights based in Christian principles, intend to return and maintain the governance of Michigan. Okay, they were fine right here until they got here. That's no. Free and independent nation state, no. The status proclaimed by the Magna Carta, no. Not even close, not connected. Declaration of Independence, maybe, but you got to go to the state of Michigan for that. The original organic constitution dated 7, no. These God given rights are for all people, no, they're not. Realizing the only limitation of which affects God given right is where there's a conflict between the rights claimed by two or more sovereign people. There's no such thing as a sovereign people. If you read the Law of Nations, anyone would know that. They're the basis of the Law of Nations.
What sovereign makes every man out there a king.
Mm-hmm. That's why I said you have a salad bar of mixed all kinds of junk that nothing makes any sense. And there's no such thing as a sovereign people. If you read the Law of Nations, which is what, okay, and we've talked about this before, what this actual, there's no such thing as an organic constitution. It does, the hell they talking about? Dated 1787, amended 1791. Okay, that was a company constitution, by the way, passed by a same kind of organization you have here. And man, do I even have to go through all that? I mean, this is such it's a mess. And I'm not trying to cut it down, folks. We're showing you what a mess this is. And we're actually
Well,
telling you what's going on here.
we're just trying to point out things that need to be corrected so you can at least have a halfway legal assembly.
And if you have to have cell phones, iPads, and iPhones, and other telephone technologies are not permitted in the meeting room due to the new phones have tracking chips in the phone. If you have to hide, you got a problem. You're not doing something right. It is best to remove a cell phone to the automobile, remove the cell phone battery. Some assemblymen like to use their cell phones to take pictures of other assemblymen and try to discreetly record the proceedings of the meeting, all of which is prohibited. Why? You never know who may be an infiltrator. Oh, okay. The Bivens decision from a court case. Yeah, you know what? We've had how many infiltrators?
One of the nights for the last 8 years.
Uh-huh. And every one of them go back and say, oh, we can't do anything with them because they're freaking doing it right.
And guess what? We publish our minutes of the meeting every time we have a meeting.
Yeah, all our minutes are published. Everything's done. Everything's open.
Yep. We hide nothing from nobody.
Equal footing. That's an old. That's basically it's supposed to be under a declaration of sovereignty, but that's supposed to be for your county. It, it's so messed up. It's unbelievable. How to establish your state's governmental officials at the national level. Oh, okay. So we're going to go national now. Okay, so they're creating they're trying to use the assembly as a political party. That's all that's happening. I could see that in the first paragraph. And you do have a republic form of government up there, doofuses. It's just not the kind of republic that you think it is. That type of republic that was put in place was to be headed by a man who had a claim to a throne, to be a king. He gave up that throne.
Look at the third line down, Keith, right in the middle.
Where third line
Yeah.
or third
No,
paragraph?
no, excuse me, second line right there,
Right
right
here.
there. Yeah. Senators and representatives. That's not a republic. That is a republican form of government. When you got representatives,
Mm-hmm. Who
in
have power
other,
of attorney for you.
that's correct. A republic, you maintain your power of attorney, and you have to vote, or you don't, or it doesn't count.
And you do have a choice as an actual republic because a national, as an American national, a real one, not this joke, a real one can represent his own country or through freely elected representatives. And he can do that, and you have a choice to withdraw that representation. In this form of thing, the way they've got it set up, you're screwed for 4 years or screwed for 6 years. And you can't do squat. So you got to wait and take the pounding of a freaking the way that they have it set up. Take a pounding for 6 years, and then hopefully you get another guy in there that they chose to go in there for you that they're still in control of. And they go, yeah, we're trying to stop all that. It's never going to stop, man. That's just the way it is in this form that you guys are talking about. But anyways, this type of republic here is an oligarchy. That's what you have in place, and that's always been in place. And what that means is that only um, uh, family members that are successors and assigns can be president. They all have to be a cousin or something of George Washington. If you go all the way back, you will see that every one of them have been a distant cousin or a part of the family bloodline,
Yep,
even Hillary
that's,
Clinton.
that's correct.
That is a republic. That's what you guys have already. It's already there. And they keep getting that messed up with this. You see, folks, from the beginning, the Senate has always elected the president. From the beginning, the people have never elected him. The Senate always does.
Actually, the Senate doesn't.
Who?
They've got a
Would they move it
yeah.
over?
No, the oh crap, I can't think of the name of it right now. But
Well,
anyway,
electoral college, yeah, but
the electoral college, yes,
right,
that's
but
that's the
all
only that's the only vote that counts for the president. Is what get with the electoral college.
well, that's from the states. I'm talking about within the federal venue. The Senate actually does vote for him because that's who originally voted for George Washington.
Now at that level, yes, but at the
That's,
Michigan state level over here, no.
yeah, it'd be okay. So, folks, just so everybody knows, Michigan is your state. That is a creature of the state. That's a corporation within the state of Michigan, right there. Just letting you know.
In a Republican democracy
Right.
by their
I
voting.
think they call it a Republican oligarchy. Is how they call it. I heard that the other day.
Hmm.
So it's just beware, guys. I mean, anybody that's going to watch it, just beware that there's some serious problems here. And I think that we've tried to contact these people a couple of times, or some of them have, they won't listen. There's no listening to them. They think that because all their documents are written, us against them, they think anybody that's coming in to try to help them is actually trying to take them over and all this other stuff. But really, what it is they don't want the people, their followers, to know that they don't know what the hell they're doing. That's all it is. And if their followers or have been trusting them. They don't want their followers to know. That's all. That's all that's happening. So and basically you've got a club that's not even really a club, doesn't even really come together as a club, and they don't want to listen to anybody. A bunch of stubborn people that just don't listen to a soul. So if you want to have problems, go do it. Have had it. Go try it. See how far you get. And then they have a. I'll go. There's a notice at the Hague. We'll go ahead and end this program. It's been about an hour. And yeah, no such thing. No such thing. Several nation states. No such thing. That's why the military is trying to get a hold of you because this is the crap they're trying to pull because they're all Jesuits. Hello. Declaring their own civil authority of independence, freedom, every power, and honorable Congress assembled by the will of the people, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, yeah, this is never going to go anywhere, anyways. It doesn't, it, it, it's not going to, it's a violation of the freaking law of nations here, violation of the law of nations here, major crimes. You're talking about invasion of a country, invasion of a state, under the guise of trying to you, you're destroying it and you're trying to say that you're trying to save it. That's what really what's going on here. It's a bait and switch type situation, and it doesn't work. Man, there's a lot of crimes involved here. Okay, well, I guess you've seen it. I guess everybody's seen enough. We could do this all day. We could go through this all day long for hours and just basically show where this is messed up, that's messed up. Um, Fair warning, you've been warned. If you want to know what's really going on and all that, you're going to be a little confused at first, but you'll come out of it. The more you know, the better off you are. So have a good time. Thank you for listening to the 69th broadcast of the T-ROH Show. We will talk to you next week.